Today's episode is brought to you by Mazars.
SoundCartel.
Often we're so busy looking for inspiration, innovation and ideas from external sources that we might not realise how rich the minds are from right inside our own business. From SoundCartel, I'm Nicole Goodman, and this is Business Essentials Daily. Yes, as business leaders, we all know we've got to drive innovation. But that doesn't mean we have to come up with all the bright ideas ourselves. According to Muller, Managing Director of GOYA Consulting and author of the book Corporate Innervation, one of the best ways for a CEO to create innovation is to listen to people inside the business. Because if anyone knows where the problems lie, it'll be them. And they'll probably tell you what the solutions are too. In fact, give them half a chance and they'll likely devise a whole new way of doing things. And that's innovation. But too often, Ali says, companies miss the mark. And she explains why in a moment. First, why the focus on innovation now? Ali Muller is speaking to Heather Dawson.
We've had a really tough year in 2020 and innovation really has been broadcast out as one of the saving grace of what we're going to be able to do to transform and grow our businesses, from 2021 and beyond. So it really has become something that is so incredibly important if we are going to be able to differentiate ourselves, grow, and continue to be leaders in the market for businesses and organisations.
But why is it, Ali, that we miss the mark, as you say, on innovation and making it happen?
We really do miss the mark because we really understand our why as organisations. They really know what they want to achieve from that vision perspective, but they miss the how and what to do in that. And what happens, they get really caught up in what I call the innovation theatre process, which is we're ideation, we're thinking about doing hackathons, or we're doing pitch fests, or we're really just putting on a bit of a show for innovation. And why they miss the mark is they forget to take it from the idea, which really is about 2% of the process, to actually looking through and digging in and doing the hard work of innovation and understanding that there will be successes, there will be failures, and things won't always work to get to the point where we have something that is potentially implementable into the market.
But who's going to be the drivers of this move to innovation in the ways that you're talking about in a business? I mean, does it have to be the managing director, the CEO, or should it be right across the board? And how do you actually make that happen?
It really needs to be right across the board. What we're looking for is to create that whole culture that comes from the top down and the ideas are pushing from the bottom up. So what I tell executives, leaders and business owners is that innovation doesn't really come from, the board table or the leadership meeting. What we need to do is be able to set a culture inside the organisation. And what I've established in this book is really a 9-step framework for leaders to be able to put this inside their organisation so that they can do many things apart from giving their organisation people a voice, but also giving them an end-to-end process to show them how it needs to work. And what we need to do is once we've built that process from the top, we really need to think about how we're extracting the ideas from everybody inside the organisation. And that's why I call this unlocking the genius inside your organisation. Because the people that you have in every aspect of your organisation, they see the blind spots that you can't see. Because innovation just doesn't come from strategy. It doesn't come from your brainstorming session. It comes from the people that are working with your customers every day or working with your internal customers, and they see the blind spots. They're looking at the problems, they're overcoming them, they're building the workarounds. We need to tap into those ideas to create that really robust culture of innovation inside the organisation.
So you've got to really encourage them to speak up.
Not only encourage them to speak up, but give them the opportunity to work through a number of ideas. So we really need to build this sustainable portfolio of innovation so that we're not just focusing on one bright, shiny idea. We're actually able to focus on many different ideas in the organisation. And the challenge that comes with this is what I hear a lot is we want to do the really big ideas, we want to do the sexy ideas. And I ask organizations and business leaders to take a step back and understand that they need to overcome some of these myths in innovation. And some of these myths that I talk to them about are that they believe a boring problem begets a boring solution. And I challenge them on that because sometimes the boring problems are the problems that everybody's having the most problem with that can create the most profound and game-changing solutions for an organization that really do add value to the bottom line. So instead of thinking about tomorrow's tomorrow and the really futuristic ideas, or what I call the ultra sexy ideas, how about we think about solving all of our problems today in a way that is different and innovative, so that we can actually think about how do we add the best value to the organisation.
You know, Mazars has been a long-time supporter of SoundCartel, and now they're helping us bring you this podcast. To find out how Mazars can support your business, visit mazars.com.au. That's mazars.com.au.
And this is what you mean by corporate innervation, which is the title of your book?
Absolutely. I call it innovation because I do believe from all the organisations that I've worked with over the last 20 years and from the number of organisations that we've put this 9-step framework inside of is the genius actually is already inside the organisation. So the ideas are there. And the reason that is because people are solving their own problems every day. People are ruminating over their ideas. People want to be challenged. It's already there. So stop looking outside the organisation, start asking within. These people already know how to solve their problems. And I'll give you a fantastic example. It's one that it still makes me laugh every day when I think about it. So I worked with an organisation that was an infrastructure-based organisation, heavy in compliance. And these people they weren't heavy hitters inside the organisation, but they really knew their business around compliance. And they knew there had to be a better way to do it. And they just couldn't get their idea heard inside the organisation. And they felt that there had to be a better way to have a more robust model to manage the risks and compliance for these infrastructure-based businesses. So they went outside, they quit their jobs, they hired a bit of an IT guru and a coding gun, and they built a SaaS model, so a software as a service model. And they got it working because they knew their stuff. And now they sell it worldwide. And not only that, they sell it back to the company that they were originally working for that didn't want to listen to their idea. And they're living their best life, making a fortune with this wonderful product. And I think it's really just the cherry on top when they get to sell it back to the organisation that didn't listen to them, because now they are the gold standard in the industry. And for me, that highlights it every time. It's like, what would have happened for that organisation to build it within the organisation? Not only would they have been able to own that IP, but perhaps that would have been an additional revenue stream if they wanted to use it in that particular way that would have allowed that organisation to create the gold standard worldwide rather than having to buy it back in.
You talk about the 7 characteristics, Ali, that you need in your innovation leader. Give us a hint of what those sorts of characteristics are.
Yeah, so what I think about with this one is what we need with innovation leaders is a bit of a change of face with this one. So the innovation leader's role is really to make the rest of the people the hero of the innovation process. So I ask leaders when they think about hiring the people for this role to think about how you can find someone who has a really deep curiosity for everything. This is the person that questions everything, uncovers everything, turns over every stone, and wants to know from a really deep place of understanding, how can they make something better? And they need to be bold and daring. So this is the person that needs to challenge the status quo, but in a really constructive and diplomatic way, not just for the sake of challenging, but for the sake of making something better for everybody. And I'll only go into one more, and this is the really most important one for me, is they need to coach their team of people, which really is the whole of the organisation and the innovation champions that they build, like champions. So we're training people to become innovative throughout their life in the organisation, not just for the one project we're doing. So you want somebody that doesn't need to be the guru, doesn't need to be the hero, but is making everybody else the hero, is upskilling them and making them better at their role in innovation. It's a really important process in this space.
That was Ali Muller, Managing Director of GOYA Consulting and author of Corporate Innervation. This episode of Business Essentials Daily is produced by the team at SoundCartel. Thanks for listening. I'm Nicole Goodman. We'll bring you more Be Daily tomorrow. Follow @BE Daily Podcast across social media and head to bedaily.com.au for more from the Business Essentials Daily podcast. SoundCartel. This episode was brought to you by Mazars. To find out more, visit mazars.com.au. That's mazars.com.au.